Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And oh my gosh, I am so excited to be talking with my guest today. She is in Italy. I love Italy. I would love Italy to be my second and final, maybe home. Who knows? But I absolutely love the country. I love the people. And I love their zest for life. And that's really what we're going to be talking about and how to bring that into your business and your professional life. So please join me in welcoming Angela Santi to our program today. Welcome, Angela.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody. I am so happy and so honored to be part of your program today.
I love it. Well, let me tell people a little bit about you and then we will dive into this. So Italian by birth and cosmopolitan by vocation, Angela Santi is the one-of-a-kind business and lifestyle consultant known as the Dolce Vita Lifestyle and leadership style designer. Fiercely protective of her craft, the art that is the science behind the good life, she has pioneered the 4 pillars of Dolce Vita Life Mastery Model. Working privately with a select group of ultra-high performers and global leaders, her Mediterranean-infused methodology empowers rebellious and ambitious business leaders worldwide to live la dolce vita, which is the sweet life, without losing momentum for their business. Over the past decade, Angela has seen her signature framework optimize the personal and professional lives of those in the top tiers of their industries. Discipline, this is interesting. Discipline is freedom in her mantra, and we're definitely going to be talking about that. She stands for a world where La Dolce Vita lifestyle is an essential component of success, a world where business owners are successful and lighthearted because they are living a fun and meaningful life, a world where business owners create a top-down revolution, empowering every single employee to do the same and creating a new culture of the workplace. When you work with Angela, you will not find predefined programs or cookie-cutter solutions. Just like the best made-in-Italy artisan products, her exclusive, individual, result-oriented experiences are tailor-made to you to create an impactful, long-lasting transformation. So again, Angela, welcome.
Thank you, Deb. I am so happy to be here and I'm looking forward to our chat.
I love it. I love it. Well, I always like to know how my guests got to where they are today. So tell us about how it is that you discovered, part of it is, this is just you, right? But how is it that you discovered that sharing your knowledge and your love of La Dolce Vita has become this passion in your life?
This is very interesting. And I tell you what, this is one of the gifts of age, because at my age, having turned half of the century long ago, as we know, our ladies like us, we can afford to live in alignment to our most authentic self. Mm-hmm. So this is the end, and I will tell you how I came here. Mm-hmm. So I've been so lucky that I was born in a family of entrepreneurs, and this really allowed me to have, a life full of experiences. Mm-hmm. They would make me travel around the world in the late 70s. Well, girls were not supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, we had to be ladies.
Yes. And I am a lady. So this is interesting because I have these 2 sides, the ladylike side and the easy rider side on the motorway.
I love it.
Adventurous side. So the first part of my life was something, where I was super empowered to live this way. And I traveled the whole world. And one of my passions was to learn everything that I could about the English and American culture.
Oh.
So I'm a fan. You are a fan of Italy, and I'm a fan of the United States, the Anglo-Saxon world. So what happened is that after a degree at the university degrees in humanistic, and I'm telling you for a reason, you know, like I went to work in my family business, like all the children of entrepreneurs. You know, what are you supposed to do? And you know what? At that time, there was no talents culture or skills culture. So what happened is that you are the woman and you do the things that are supposed to, you know, be done by a woman, and you are the man. So you are in charge of sales, finance, etc. And as a woman, I was in charge of organizational development and HR development.
You were the HR person.
Of course. And a little bit of marketing because it's creative and, you know, everything like this. And I really created my my role as in the organization, but also in a change manager, as a change manager, because over the years, the company was, and I have to tell you what, the company was really flourishing. And we became one of the top 10 Italian distributors of luxury cars. So we had 600 employees and 29 venues, you know, all around Northern Italy. We were huge. And inside there, I started really pioneering what I'm doing now, because as a humanistic person and as an Italian, my employees were my family, and I wanted them to have an amazing experience at work, because we know that we stay at work much more than we stay at home. So I started working, you know, with consultants that were bringing all this amazing experiences for my employees, and they were really having a wonderful, wonderful time. So after that, I also was a part of the board of directors, and this caused me on the other side, while I was thriving on what I was doing, you know, like on a more day-by-day thing. I was faced with all those men that were, you know, like in the leadership roles.
And they were your family.
Yes, but, you know, family, but also all men. And since I had no role models for leadership at the time, and the women at the time were all those masculine looking women, you know, in the executive positions. So I started aping my men. And I started working the long hours, you know, not taking lunch break, and doing all the things that I hated doing, but I thought there were, you know, like
you had to do that to be successful.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that there were the requirement for my role, because nobody was telling me you can create your role the way you want. So, and I was really successful. I had a wonderful life on the outside, but I was feeling that something was missing. I was disaligned from who I was, from the adventurous and free and, you know, like happy person that I was before. So even before I had the time to think about, you know, how to problem solve that, and I was in a sort of also of a comfort zone, 2008 came. Lehman Brothers collapsed, the whole world collapsed, the automotive industry collapsed.
The luxury automotive industry kind of went oik.
Yes, everything collapsed. And my family business collapsed in 9 months, like this.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I found myself jobless, without a role, but even more important of that, without an identity, because I was identifying myself with my business and with my role. And at the time, you know, I was starting to say, why did I give up my life and, you know, my values, my authenticity for this kind of outward success? So this was also the time when I was like, what shall I do now? You know, do I want to play the victim? I'm not the kind of person who wants to play the victim at all. No. So I said, you know what? here are my skills, here are the things I believe in, and let's, create a whole new life. And I started working as a consultant for HR and organizational consultant, as an independent contractor for other Italian companies. So at that time, I started, commuting all over Northern Italy with the clients and, doing all the things that were always on the go. And you know what? I didn't like it at all because my life was worse than before.
All you were doing was traveling.
Yeah, but not even traveling in a nice way. It was just,
work travel is not fun travel.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I've always been a globetrotter. And during my holidays, I was just looking forward to stay at home. So I was even, losing the taste for travel. So then I was about to hit my 50s. And I said, do I want to continue to live this way? I said, no. You know what? Life gave me a kick in the butt, when I was, too static and, I wasn't doing anything for myself. And this time I know how to change, and I did it. So this was the time when I hired an American business coach who taught me how to start my business online. And I pivoted everything online. So all the Italians were telling me that it wasn't possible.
Right.
Like the story of the frog, the deaf frog who is climbing up the tower, and everybody said, oh, how are you doing that? I'm not listening to the people that say that it's not possible. So
right. Just go.
Go. And I was like, all the Americans on the Anglo-Saxon world is online. Why shouldn't I be online? And I started offering my programs online to the Italians until the pandemic. During the lockdown, every Italian, they had no clue of, what is Zoom.
Right. And you were way ahead of them.
Yes. And they were, they were asking me, my colleagues that were cheesing me, to say, oh, you're stupid. You cannot do that. It's, you're dreaming all the time. Oh, can you please tell me the secret to do that? And, oh, you're doing a webinar and do this? And I said, well, yes, I am here. So, in a way, I've always been a pioneer. And so I really pushed on the accelerator while everybody was like trying to, to understand what was happening. And at the time, I was even energetically opening myself even more. So some expats came to me. And it was really interesting because then I was really reconnected with my passion of, working and of being no limits. Being limitless, being really limitless. And so then even more last year, I said, you know what, I am gonna conquer, of course, it was still impact the world, the rest of the world. I'm gonna go overseas, not gonna stay in Europe, only in Europe. And here I am.
I love it. And it's I think one of the things that has definitely come out of the pandemic is we all went, ooh, we can work with people around the world. And we've done it in a way that, yes, we were forced to do it, but it was, and I think it was something that we probably would have done eventually. But yes, we were forced to do it. I mean, here in the States, people went to work on Friday and they didn't go back to work on Monday. And we were told 2 weeks and we all laughed at that. But, and so everything shut down, but of course our computers didn't. And so, I think for those who immediately grasp the fact that I'm going to have to connect with people online, those are the people who are being very successful now. And as you said, you already were doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And the only thing that I had to do now was to translate everything from the Italian into English, because even with those expats, they were just like random cases. So I was like, okay. And I was postponing, all the time. All my friends then were telling me, you should do, open. And I was like, yeah, but I have to translate everything into English. And I was postponing the thing. And then I was like, no, I am gonna do that. And you know what? Those who understood the potentialities of the internet, I think that even felt the negative side of the pandemic way less than everybody else.
Right. And we still crave human interaction. But it's interesting, and I've mentioned this on my program before. I have not attended an in-person networking event. So now it's been over 2 years for, a variety of reasons. We've been having them here in Atlanta. They started up again almost right away, but I just haven't been doing that. And I realize I miss seeing those people. But do I miss having to put on shoes? That's kind of my running joke. I don't wear shoes now. And we dress from the waist up, right? But more importantly, I don't miss the hour commute to go to those events, the cost, even though you were probably paying for a fairly good lunch, and let's be honest, Southern catering, very good lunches. And I miss the programs, but I don't miss that whole everything that goes with it. So maybe that's why I embraced online networking and working online much faster. My clients, I talk to them all, text, email, Zoom, all of those things. And when I say, do we need to meet in person? They're like, why? Okay.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? Of course, in-person networking and networking online are two different things.
Right.
But I think that you can still feel the energy of people over the internet.
Right.
It depends on the way that you are able to connect.
Right.
From a heart-centered, place. And it's, so I'm not missing it at all. Yeah, of course. There are some nice things, and the things that happen here around, in town are fine. But if I have the same thing, if I have to take a train and to commute to another place to network, and maybe, come back in the night, and maybe you don't even meet the people that you want to meet because you don't know who's there. It's a waste of time. And for me, time is really important. I don't want to waste my time, because I want to get my time is for me is one of the most important asset that I have. And I want to make the most out of my life, not only out of my time. So,
and I think that's one of the things that so many people really have latched onto is this concept of time. We're not commuting. We're not doing a lot of things that, let's be honest, were a waste of time. And the cool thing is then we've taken our 8-10 hour days and shortened them into something that is much, much better for us. And we figured out, hey, we need to get these things done. So I want to talk about, your concept, which is the Dolce Vita Life Mastery Model. And you've got the 4 pillars. And as I was looking at your website, I realized that Vita is, of course, it is an Italian word, but you use it as an acronym. So talk to us about what actually talk about a little bit more first about La Dolce Vita, and you can put a little Italian in there if you want.
Okay.
And then talk about what the 4 pillars are.
Okay. So La Dolce Vita is the sweet life. Dolce means sweet, and vita, it means life. It's the Italian way of life. Is our way of living, and it's an inside out word. You see what happened, from the outside, but it's really, before being a behavior, it's a way of approaching all areas of life. And I tell you a little historical background for that. So it's important because it's really relevant to the times that we're living now. So La Dolce Vita is comes from a movie by Federico Fellini, where all those guys were having fun during the evening and in the night with women and all that. But really, La Dolce Vita was the way that people wanted to live during the Reconstruction after the World War II.
Oh, okay.
So after World War II, which is something similar to the American Great Depression,
right.
people were rebuilding a whole country.
Well, and especially in Italy. I mean, the war had been fought there.
Exactly.
We really didn't have that here in the States.
Exactly. And everything was destroyed. So everything has to be rebuilt. And so there were this zest and enthusiasm, people were really participating in creating a whole new world, and they were the protagonists of this new world creation. So they were working very hard, but they were also craving for having fun, for joy, after all those dark years. So, and it's also interesting from a sociological standpoint that a category of people was born, and it's the younger. Before that, you were either a child, and then all of a sudden you became adult. So you went from school to work.
Okay.
Whereas, like the teenagers were born, those people halfway that really want to enjoy everything. So the Dolce Vita is this attitude of, and this ability to work hard when it comes to work hard, and Italians are really hard workers, and to play hard when it comes to play hard. And when you work hard, you don't want to give up your pleasure, like say today, for me, it's afternoon now. And after our interview, I will go out and have an aperitif with my friends. Maybe I haven't finished working. Who cares? I can go back, do little things, and then, start again. So it also means living aligned to who you are, to how you function as a person and as a person at work, following your rhythms, and do whatever lights you up, and to have this Dolce Vita times every day in your life, not waiting until the weekend or until, postponing it until when. So getting to the Dolce Vita pillars. So Vita, life, the pillars of life, we can also call them. And these are V, vitality, illumination, techniques, and assets.
Okay.
So when I work with my clients and they come to me, the first thing that I ask them is, what is La Dolce Vita for you? Because La Dolce Vita doesn't have cookie cutter definitions. La Dolce Vita is like success. So you have your own definition of La Dolce Vita that can be a super luxury experience, but also, something very small that you can do every day that lights you up. So we want to integrate much more of La Dolce Vita into your work and into your work day. So we look at those 4 dimensions. So vitality. So what are you doing for keeping your energy up, for your well-being, meaning psychological and physical well-being, for your health, so sleep, food, exercise, and whatever.
Okay.
Then illumination or inspiration, stands for your attitude, your mindset, your how you face things, so what makes you feel, lights you up, what makes you feel accomplished and fulfilled. And then we have the techniques. This is the hard part, because in order to get all this, and we come to the discipline, you have to have in place the right systems, the right routines, and the right habits that help you, insert all this, and that help you also be very efficient and productive while you work, because you want to work a limited number of hours, and not, like as if, we have 24 hours and I can feel 24 hours. It also has to do, as a technique, with the dolce far niente, idleness, sheer idleness, creating space in your life and do nothing. And this comes from the Latin word comes from the Romans. The ancient Romans built the empower, alternating, they called it otium and negotium, meaning otium is in action, not acting, going to the spa, chatting with people, going for a walk, staying in nature, and doing all the things that help you, like percolate, that you process what happened during the negotium. And the negotium were activities. Of course, the Romans weren't working the way we work,
right?
But, they were engaged in politics and doing things for society. So they were really alternating those two things. So some of the techniques for La Dolce Vita are really alternating idleness, contemplation of your beauty, connecting with people you love to connect to, and also, being organized in a very, and setting your boundaries and doing all the things. And having your habits, compound your habits, small daily habits that compound. And then we go to the assets. So what are the assets? First asset, and most important assets, it's you, yourself. So you're the most important person in your life, and you want to honor that in the La Dolce Vita model. And then it's your superpowers and your abilities and your beliefs. We know that your belief can be your allies or can be your enemy, and we want to make your belief being your assets. So we assess all this, and we foster I believe in fostering what your superpower and correcting, but pushing and fostering superpowers makes you have quicker results than trying to correct what is not working. And it's very boring, and it gets also very frustrating. So we want to focus on the fun part. So this is basically what we do. And generally, I like to provide my clients first a blueprint, a very intensive experience, and then, see with them if they can implement it by themselves, all very well, or we can also work together for a few months. But basically, this part is the most important, because they get, all the, they connect the dots, and they can skyrocket and have quick results.
I love it. It was funny. One of the things that I wrote down as you were talking is workaholic. And I think especially here in the States, that is something that, we don't have, siestas. We don't, we work, we get up at, not me, but some people, crack of dawn, and at midnight, they're still at their computer, all of these things. And I think one of the things the pandemic made us do was kind of pause that. But for a business owner, it's very tricky. One of the things I like to say is, we only have 28 hours in our day, right? It seems like we have to cram 28 hours worth of work into 24 hours. And I think that whole workaholic philosophy is just so damaging to us, because we're not enjoying life. So how do you work with people to get them out of that I have to work theory?
So this is a very good question. And workaholism is one of the things that we are starting to import from United States with Halloween. Yes, Halloween, McDonald's, and a few other things that are coming here to Italy. So yeah, I totally agree that it's very tricky, because as a business owner, and as I was a business owner, and I'm a business owner also now, one of the most important thing is to keep perspective from your business. So we have to really to be aware that we are, as I said before, we are not our business, and we have to be detached. To be detached, working 24 hours a day doesn't work. And it doesn't work also because now, even more than before, we are faced with the so-called VUCA word: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It's very difficult to make decisions in the VUCA word because we don't have the elements. And if we are stressed out because we are working, and we cannot get out of the box because we live in the box, we live in the hamster wheel, our decisions will be made out of reaction, and we don't, out of fear, out of stress, and these are not the right decisions. So what do I do? The first thing that I do is to force my clients, those who want, and this is the best way to do that, for this intensive experience that I was telling you, if they go out of their business, go out of the workplace, now that, the pandemic has, given us the opportunity to travel again, or even, just go to a beautiful venue in your home town, home city, and enjoy like 24, 36 hours out of your environment. So this is the first things, like going out, stopping, get off the hamster wheel. So there, I encourage them to live some La Dolce Vita moments that are meaningful for them. And we work together a little bit. So this is a way to make them really walk the talk and test drive it, and they see, everybody sees that when you get off this work mode, you feel better. Your decisions are better because your head is clearer. You are much more centered. You are more energized. You are more optimistic, even because you're, you're making. So this is the first way. If they cannot do it, we just do it with an assessment, and like basically. But this is, like we say, the non plus ultra. It's the top, the top experience that you can have.
Right. And I think one of the things that we have, we've kind of known, but we haven't, you mentioned the word idleness, and the fact that when our brains calm, then it works through those problems, or it thinks about new products, new services. I mean, all of those things, because when we're working ourselves, when we're on that proverbial hamster wheel, just, continually work, our brains need idleness in order to function at its best. And I think that's, why people who meditate do very well. I tell people, there are times where I just sit down and I watch stupid TV, because stupid TV puts my brain kind of on this pause mode. And then I'm able to think better about what's going on in the world. But I think so many times as a business owner, we do think we have to be on 24 hours a day, and we don't realize that on can be idle.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, one of my previous mentor, one of my first mentor, taught me a very interesting way of structuring the day. It's, the way of working by blocks. And she was saying, on business, off business, and in business. And the word business is always there, even when you are off business.
Right.
So
because we do still think about it. Let's be honest. I mean, we don't completely shut our brains off on that.
Exactly. But the moments when you are off business are the moments when you process idea and when you can become more creative. Like for me, I meditate, not so consistent because I'm, this A type, always on, I need energy. And you know what, since for me, and this is a tip that I would like to give to your audience, for me, the classical like meditation, all this music and things are super boring, but I like the Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd are 432 megahertz music. So if you listen to the Pink Floyd, you can do two things with one. And just enjoy, or Mozart, just do nothing. And it's a bit of a challenge in the beginning, but it's rewarding. And the second thing for me, the best way to strategize my business is to go on a walk in the woods. So whenever I can, I stay in nature, walk with my phone, so that I can dictate all the ideas that are coming up. So this is an example to say, it's important to get out of your office and then when you come back to your office, you are re-energized and you are also more calm and positive. And I'm introducing, if we want to up-level the concept, and then you can embody and become a Dolce Vita leader and really impact your family, yes, but also your family at work. Because we know that the way you show up in your workplace and in your business determines the company culture.
Right.
It's not, calling consultants like myself to do the work. You have to be the first one who embodies this concept, and then everything else follows.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we see so many examples of business owners, executives who don't, and employees who don't like what they're doing, and which is very sad, especially if it's their business, and there's so many reasons for that. I mean, there's obviously a lot of pressure, especially if they have employees. I mean, there's all sorts of things. I can't imagine the business owners in the last 2 years having to think about, if we go under, it would have been exactly like your family back in 2008. What is this going to do to everyone? I mean, there's all of those stresses and things, but we also, as you said, we pick up on the fact, do they love what they do? And I remember years ago, I was, having a little health issue. I was talking to one of my nurses, and I said, there's 2 different types of nurses. And she said, oh, yes, there are. Now, she was an older woman, and she was one of my good nurses. And she said, there are nurses who it is a job, and there are nurses who it is a calling. And, I don't care what we do. Is it a job or is it a calling? And that's where I think, if it's a job, and let's be honest, sometimes we have to have the job because we need the money because we have the bills, right?
Of
But,
course.
what is it that you can do in your life to have that enjoyment? And again, I think the pandemic kind of made us stop and think about that. I think that's why, especially here in the States, and I don't know how it is in Italy, the whole great resignation thing. I think so many people thought, I'm not doing that anymore. And so I think that's just something that people really started thinking about is, I want to enjoy my life. I don't care if I'm 20. I don't care if I'm 80. I want to be enjoying life.
Yeah, I think that this is, what, at the end of the day, everybody's goal in life is happiness,
Right.
is joy, is doing something meaningful. So I totally understand this, and I'm exactly on the same page. And I would like to back it up by saying that during my years as a consultant, at the beginning of my years, I was also working as a career orientation consultant, because I had done, like recruiting when I was working in my family business, something that I didn't like doing at all, because I prefer, like fostering and, like all the part of the development. But anyways, to some of the people that were coming to me, I was asking them first, before leaving their job, and in Italy, the job market is less flexible than in the United States. Okay. I was saying, how can you bring more joy into what you are doing now? How can you bring more meaning into what you're doing now? And then, of course, we would, look at ways to exit, because there are, of course, as some environments that are toxic, or some bosses that are like too demanding, or maybe just the relationship inside, or the company experience is not good, or another thing is your values are not aligned with company values, which is one of the main reasons why people here are resigning from their job. Especially now, the youngest generation, probably the baby boomers and the X gens were more
We have to
I have a
work.
job
Mhm.
and I will stay there until
Mhm.
I'm dead.
Mhm.
The younger generation are more, like I stay here for 4 or 5 years and then I change and I want this
Mhm.
experience and I want my work-life balance, something which our generation, a little bit,
Right. Mhm.
yeah, we were trained in a different way.
Mhm.
So this is important. And I say that as a leader, you can also bring those 4 pillars of La Dolce Vita inside your organization. So you ask yourself how to create vitality within my organization.
Mhm.
How can I do to create well-being for my employees?
Mhm.
How can I improve communication within the people? Relationships are
Mhm.
important. And like, for instance, we have in Italy, the coffee break
Mhm.
is something sacred.
Ah.
So yes, your espresso, you don't go to Starbucks and drink your coffee, your mug
Mhm.
at your desk. No, you go to the coffee dispenser with
Mhm.
your colleagues and you chat. And this is a great place, by the way, to understand what's going on in the company, because,
Right.
like the
It's
real
what we used to
conversation.
call the water cooler. We all went, we gathered, and we chatted. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, this is the same. So this moment have to be encouraged, because these are the moments when
Right.
really people
Mhm.
can connect.
Mhm.
And then the second pillar, illumination, inspiration, it's the mindset, attitude, like commitment.
Mhm.
When people are committed and when they can understand that they can make an impact, when they can make the decision, where can,
Mhm.
like, being creative. So, and then techniques. So we go back to strategies,
Mhm.
systems like compensations and, like whatever
Mhm.
behaviors, flexibility within
Mhm.
structure, a
Mhm.
discipline is freedom, and assets. So what are the assets? Assets are your product, but it's
Right.
also your
Your
people,
people. Mhm. Mhm.
their superpowers, their
Mhm.
skills. So whatever your alliances, your
Mhm.
client. So
Mhm.
whenever all those 4 dimensions are aligned,
Mhm.
then you can bring La Dolce Vita into your
Mhm.
company. And to bring La Dolce Vita into your company after having embodied La Dolce Vita leadership,
Right.
you can much more easily understand the importance of those
Mhm.
of those dimensions. Plus another one, which is that I call the fuel. It's the emotions.
Okay.
Right now, it's
Mhm.
easier to talk about emotion in the company environment.
Mhm.
Before, it wasn't that. Or I mean, at least in Italy, it wasn't. Like, you keep emotions outside
Right. Oh,
of
no,
the
that's
work.
not professional. No, no. Mhm.
No, professional.
Mhm.
But if you keep emotions outside of the environment, really, you are losing. You are missing something,
Right.
and you don't know what is really going on.
Mhm.
So there are places where you can talk about
Mhm.
the emotions. It's not about like
Mhm.
externalizing emotions every now and then, but
Mhm.
there can be places for everything.
Mhm.
And I think that people now, we have really the chance to change this
Mhm.
culture, because people are resigning for a reason, because they don't want to be exploited anymore.
Right. Yeah, I heard today that they don't feel appreciated. And
Exactly.
how hard is it to tell people, "Hey, you're doing a great job. Thank you." I mean, even if you're not able to give them a bonus or anything like that, we just want to be acknowledged that, "Hey, we did a great job."
Exactly. Or another very, very easy thing to
Mhm.
acknowledge the people is to tell them why you're asking something from them.
Right.
You
Mhm.
you make them part of a strategy.
Mhm.
Of course,
Mhm.
that part of a strategy that can be told to everybody.
Mhm.
So when you understand why you're asked to be that, and
Mhm.
when maybe you're asked to give your own vision,
Mhm.
because I like to say that decisions have to be made at the right level.
Mhm.
So as a CEO, as a CFO, you make
Mhm.
your own decision, and
Mhm.
you don't want to micromanage, people, and
Right.
making decision at different levels. You don't want to become a bottleneck,
Mhm.
and control everything.
Right.
So when people are empowered and they
Mhm.
understand where they're going, why they're there, when they
Mhm.
have their goals, And when they are empowered and inspired, then they become accountable and they really can be part of your vision, and they can understand that they can change the world like you are asking, wanting to do that.
Right. Right. I want to talk more about vitality, especially now because of the pandemic, where people are, many people are never going back into the workplace. They might still work for that company, but it's all work from home or it's hybrid. And so we're losing those water cooler, those coffee time moments. And and we've certainly heard a lot about how depression is an issue, things like that. How do, in this remote working, how do we bring that back in?
This is a very good question, because it really, here in Italy, it's very easy because distances are very small, and Italians, like to meet all the time. For like different longer distances, I would really create those moments, like weekly moments every 2 weeks, but create gatherings among the same colleagues.
Oh, okay.
But try to find ways and discuss what it's possible to create. Simple things like a dinner or, like a moment when you can go back and recreate this unity.
Right.
So of course they can't be done by chance. You have to schedule them and you have to make time for them. But this is even better because this is a Dolce Vita moment, So, and then you can maybe you discover, or you knew that you share some interest together. So why not going out with your colleagues and do different things?
Right. Yeah, it's and I think that has excuse me, been one of the hardest things for people to adapt to, is that not seeing people every day. And because it is, when you go, you're getting your coffee, you're in the elevator, all of those things. That's when those little moments of, well, what did you watch on TV last night? Oh, what are your kids doing? Oh my gosh, I just went on vacation. That's where we're missing those things. And it's hard. And it's, so I don't know if it's, at the start of a meeting, you allow time for just that chit chat or, things like that. It's tricky, because I think that is what truly helps bind us together. As you said, we discover that we have similar interests, whether it's sports, whether it's kids, whether it's whatever, TV programs, like I said, and that is part of that company culture.
Yes, I think that this discussion can go on two different levels. One is the human level. So I would say during the pandemic, I rediscovered my neighbors. And I reconnected with all the people around here, people that have shops and things. And for the Italians, again, it's very easy because we just like to connect. So when you go to your coffee shop, your favorite coffee shop, the barista, the person at the coffee shop knows everything about you. So if you don't go for 2 days, where did you go?
Where have you been?
Where have
they
you
get
been?
concerned.
Yeah, and everybody, oh yeah, really. So you really have this chit chat with everybody here, like even if you go to a shop or everything. So when you to avoid being isolated, just go out and chat with the people that are around you, do random act of kindness.
We need that social aspect.
Yes.
And I don't care if you're the biggest introvert in the world, you still need that.
Yeah, exactly. When you go, you're in line at the supermarket. When I see the person at the cashier, super dark, I always say hi with a big smile and ask something. Oh, it's been a bad day today, right? And so then, you can change the day of a person just by saying something. So this is a basic thing, and it's on a human level. On a company level, it has to be structured because you cannot do it, in such a random way.
Right.
So this would be something that I would encourage, like every employee to do it with the people with whom they resonate the most, or the officers inside the company, the HR, the I don't know, the chief experience officer, or whoever is in charge for employees experience to organize this kind of things. That's knowing what people like doing, not infusing them, like
Right.
top down.
Right. Oh, and excuse me, you can do things like a volunteer project where you get everybody together.
Exactly.
And even if you're not meeting in person, you can do things. We did a thing with my husband's company, and this was, the pandemic was still really going. And so people were not meeting in person. And so it was a conference that he normally attends. And so they did it all online. I mean, that was perfectly fine. But they also understood the importance of those socialization times. And so they did this thing. Now, granted, this was not inexpensive. And so you're not going to do this for, a huge company, but we had you'll love this. We had a wine tasting.
Oh.
And so there were maybe, and it was an evening thing. So spouses were included. And, and it was a certain level of people. So there were maybe 20 of us that participated, and spouses. And they, in advance, sent us 3 different wines, and these were California wines, but the smaller bottles. They didn't want everybody, even though we were home, we didn't need to get happy. And they sent food so that you paired it with the food. Now, it didn't quite translate well here in the hot sun because it sat outside a little too long, but we still knew, okay, well, you're supposed to have this cheese with that. And more importantly, they had someone from the winery that was part of this who explained, okay, here's what you do with all of this. And I mean, I thought it was great to have that interaction with those work people, but it was a fun thing. And I just thought that was very interesting and a great way to do that.
Yeah, really. This is brilliant. And I think that it's just a matter of knowing your people. So to know your people, you have to connect with your people on a human base and get creative. And of course, the smaller you are as a company, the easiest it is to, but you can be creative also, when you are bigger, and you can create like smaller things for different departments. I mean, there is no cookie cutter solution, but the key is know your people, know who they are, know what are their passions, know what can, get them together and create something for and with them. Make them be part of the organization,
Right.
And
because when we're working remotely, it is very easy to get detached.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of the challenges is definitely the one to reconnect with everybody and to give this 5 minutes of attention to everyone. But it's worthwhile, and it really pays back a lot.
Right. And I mean, sometimes it's simple things like telling people you have to leave your cameras on. Now not everybody likes that because maybe, behind them it's the messy bedroom or the kids or whatever. But we need to, not seeing someone's face is a detriment. And I've talked with managers who have had to take extra training to recognize when there might be problems. Do you have an employee who, in person is very gregarious, who's very they're the first people in line, but now all of a sudden, they're showing up late to the online meetings. Their work is kind of, when they're on the online meeting, maybe they don't have their camera on, or, they're unkempt, things like that. And so people need to recognize, hey, there could be an issue here.
Yeah. So you have to be, again, you have to be very close to the people and connect from a human standpoint.
Right. And let's be honest, you have to put extra effort into it now because we're not in person.
Definitely. And those who have to do this work have to get support because the amount of energy that you need to do this extra effort, to understand this extra thing, to create new things, is really a lot. So I really wish that all companies in the world are supporting their employees at
Right.
all levels,
Mhm.
like from the
Mhm.
executive to down,
Mhm.
to really thrive this way. Because
Mhm.
when you do it, and when you are all together on the same page, and you want to recreate this human-centric
Mhm.
word that we
Mhm.
have lost for a while,
Mhm.
so this is really the key to the rebirth, to the
Right.
new word,
Mhm.
Dolce Vita,
Mhm.
or like after these dark
Mhm.
years that
Mhm.
hopefully
Right.
are over.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly it. Is it has been not good, not fun, bad, horrible. And as you were saying, when Italy came out of World War II, they truly embraced this La Voce
La Dolce
Vita
Vita.
lifestyle. Yeah, yeah, I got my words mixed up. Because it had been so bad, and now it's okay. It's going to be good. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, Angela, we only have about 5 minutes left. So, how do I know? Isn't we just have to have you on again because I think we've just scratched the surface with this. But how do people connect with you and find out how to have the Dolce Vita life and lifestyle, especially in business? How do they find you?
So they found me on my website,
Mhm.
www.angelasanti.it, like
Mhm.
Italy.
IT is Italy. Yes, yes. Hmm.
IT is Italy.
Hmm.
And they can also connect with me on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
like my post, and I love to interact. So LinkedIn is the place where to interact with me.
Hmm.
And again, my website, www.angelasanti.it.
Perfect. And you've got great information on there. And so I encourage folks to go there. But what services do you provide for folks?
So I provide one-on-one experiences, virtual
Hmm.
experiences. So my favorite one is this bespoke blueprint,
Hmm. Hmm.
where we look at the situation, and then I give, like a roadmap to live La Dolce Vita. So what are the first steps to do to live in La
Hmm.
Dolce Vita? And maybe the clients can go from there by themselves, or start a longer programs. And I like to work 3 months by 3 months,
Okay.
because like giving tight deadlines fosters
Hmm.
results.
Right. If we don't, if it's we can do it at some point, then we never do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And for those who really want to do, the max, the amplification of La Dolce Vita is this virtual, like blueprint retreats, where I am virtual and they are in a beautiful place somewhere where they've always dreamt of
Mhm.
being. Can be for a weekend, or
Mhm.
can be for a week, or
Mhm.
whatever. And we work and interact together,
Mhm.
but they also enjoy a lot of La Dolce Vita time, and they are forced to, because it's a program.
I love
So
it. I love it. Mhm.
it's work.
Now, do you also work with groups of people? So like all of the C-level folks or something like that?
I do it, and I have a program with a colleague, because
Mhm.
it's a thing where it's important to have, like more than one person
Okay.
viewpoint,
Mhm.
so we can provide that. And
Mhm.
everything is tailor made,
Mhm.
so it's based on on
Mhm.
analysis, and then we see, we define
Mhm.
the program based on the needs and the goal of our clients.
I love it. I love it. And of course, as you were saying, all of this is done virtually. We
Yeah,
can be wherever. And I think that's the thing is, people are getting used to the fact that as long as you've got internet, you can work at the beach, you can work in the
exactly.
forest, you can work wherever.
Exactly. And have fun. And when you're happy and you're having fun, everything is better.
Hmm. I love it. Well, I have been having such a wonderful time talking about La Dolce Vita Revolution with Angela Santi. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave us with?
I would like to leave you with an assignment.
Oh.
So now that you have listened to this interview, this amazing chat with Deb, so please write down what La Dolce Vita means for you, and schedule into your scheduler every day something that brings you some Dolce Vita time,
I love it.
or that brings you closer to this La Dolce
Mhm.
Vita, even if it's 5 minutes.
Mhm. I
This
love
is
it.
mandatory and non-negotiable, and it's a
Yes.
priority.
Great. I love it so much. And again, tell us how people find you.
On my website, www.angelasanti.it, like Italy, or on my LinkedIn profile.
Perfect. Well, Angela, this has been a delight, and I cannot wait to do it again. And so I look forward to that. And I'm going to start working on my La Dolce Vitas also. And so that's what we need to, I'll work on my homework and then report back to you, right?
Thank you.
So this has been so much fun. I am Deb Creer. I've been having an absolutely fabulous conversation with Angela Santi. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored for having been here. Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you, Deb. And until next time, ciao.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.